Hi everyone, I am pleased to be hosting this interview, which is on the sidelines of the global meeting of the Emerging Markets Forum, and I am honored to have as a guest Dr. Harinder Kohli, who is the founding director and the chief executive of the Emerging Markets Forum, who made us the honor of accepting this interview. Hello, Doctor. Thank you very much for being with us. I would like to start with the first simple question. This is the 16th meeting of the global meeting of the Emerging Markets Forum. I wanted to ask you about how the forum started, what the objectives of the forum and of the global meetings of the forum are.
Good morning, and thank you for talking to me and having me on your show. First, let me say it's a pleasure to be in Morocco and the beautiful city of Marrakesh. I want to start by saying that I always had great admiration for Morocco, long association with Morocco, but my admiration has gone up even further to see how Morocco has rebounded from recent events, and the resilience of Moroccan people to recover from the recent tragedy. We have great sympathy for your people, for your country, and I want to express our sympathy for people who suffered so much from the earthquake. But also for the courage people have shown in recovering from the events and for the ability for the authorities to host the meetings of the World Bank and IMF and our own meeting so quickly after the events of the earthquake. Going back to your question, our forum was started in 2005 because we felt that there was a big gap in not being there a forum which was for the emerging markets and of the emerging markets, which looked at issues which were of great concerns for the emerging markets and which looked at the issues from the perspective of the emerging markets. And that is in the name of our forum, Emerging Markets Forum. Because until then, there were a lot of meetings, but which were from the perspectives of developed countries, of rich countries, or of big companies. And Davos, World Economic Forum, is a classic example of that. Yes, people were invited from emerging economies, but the agenda was driven by the rich countries or rich companies, and we started our forum. And the fact that this is our 16th global meeting, 26th meeting overall, shows that there was something to our idea. And by now we've had over 3,000 participants from over 80 countries, and we have annual meetings and we have regional meetings on Africa, on Europe, on Asia, and Latin America. So there was something solid in the idea of the forum. We've had heads of states, prime ministers, ministers, governors of central banks, private sector people, think tanks who attended.
I would like to ask you first, there is a lot of momentum right now about having more diverse voices heard. The BRICS might be a very good example of that, and all the momentum it is gathering and all the intention it is bringing to itself, notably from advanced economies in the world. But globally, there are a lot of debates about global governance. At the same time, there is currently what could be described as a crisis with inflation, but also with higher interest rates, for instance, in advanced economies. I wanted to ask you about how emerging economies are coping with these current challenges. And as you know, there are some people who are actually saying that the term emerging economies should be retired altogether because it actually describes a reality that it is way too diverse. So I wanted to inquire about what, according to you, constitutes a break to the development of emerging economies, and how you think they have performed in the face of the different challenges that they have to deal with.
This issue is a perennial issue. And to me, it's a strength. Divergence is a strength. Yes, there's a big difference between big countries and small countries. Countries which are doing well, countries which face more challenges. By bringing all of them together, by asking them to share experience, to learn from each other, is actually the whole purpose of Emerging Markets Forum. When you have people from India and Brazil and Morocco and Egypt and Hungary and China talk to each other, to learn from each other, to share experiences, you gain. Why did China do well in some areas and not so well in others? Why is South Africa doing well in a few areas and not so well in other areas? Why do commodity exporting countries, so rich in resources, are stuck in middle income trap? And why other countries can avoid that trap? That's exactly the kind of issues our forum discusses. People who had experienced ministers, like we have the former head of the Planning Commission of India here. He could help people from other countries as to what did India learn from their experience during 10 years of his term as the planning minister. We have former governor of the Central Bank of Tunisia here. He'll be talking this afternoon about the experiences. We have private sector people from Saudi Arabia. We have governor of the Central Bank of Brazil speaking about reform of the global monetary system. People from different parts of the world. Our forum is unique in that sense, and this diversity is exactly the strength in my view. So I don't think the fact that there is a diversity is a disadvantage. This is exactly the strength of emerging markets.
The annual meetings are back to Africa after about 50 years. This is the first time they are also organized in Morocco. I wanted to ask you about what you thought about the significance of holding both the annual meetings and the global meeting of the Emerging Market Forum here in Africa, notably in view of the different, very particular and strong challenges that the continent is facing, climate change being one of them, but debt distress being another one.
Well, for us also, this is the first meeting on African soil for the global meeting. Our forum has met in Africa a number of times, including in Morocco, but that was the Africa regional meeting. We met in South Africa, we met in Ivory Coast, but the global forum of emerging markets is meeting on African soil for the first time. And I think there are two reasons. One is to highlight the importance of Africa to the entire world. That's the reason the World Bank and IMF are here. That's why we are here. The second reason is, in our view, the development challenges of Africa are the final frontier of development for the entire world. If Africa doesn't do well, the world as a whole cannot do well. But the second reason is Africa has the fastest growing population in the world. It will have the youngest population in the world in the future, while the rest of the world is aging and aging fast. It's the only part of the world which can supply young people, young workforce of the world. However, even though Africa is very, very rich in natural resources, it faces tremendous development challenges, structural challenges. Fortunately, Morocco is a shining star economically. It also provides political stability. Many countries in Africa, 53 other countries in Africa, do not have the advantages that Morocco provides. Morocco is now beginning to integrate more and more with rest of Africa, your private sector and public sector.
Dr. Harinder Kohli, Founding Director and Chief Executive of the Emerging Markets Forum, thank you so much for having accepted our invitation and for your insights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank the Policy Center for hosting us. They are co-hosts here. Wonderful organization, and I look forward to our meetings here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.